I was the one when you needed love. All of the things that you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed love. All of the things that you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed love. All of the things that you wanted.
And welcome back to World Politics, where we take an alternative look at the world of politics as well as giving a voice to the unheard. And on this February the 8th edition, I'm speaking to Malaka Mohammed of the BDS movement. She is from Gaza, studying in the University of Exeter in the UK at the moment, and she was on a speaking tour of Ireland from the 8th to the 14th of February, speaking about Israeli colonisation of Palestine as well as the BDS movement, the boycott, divestments and sanctions movement. She was speaking all over Ireland, in Belfast, in Dublin, in Sligo and in Maynooth, in around the universities as well. So I'm going to be speaking to her on this fortnight show. Before we get to that, let's have a look at some of the significant happenings on the 8th of February. In 1865, Delaware refuses to ratify the 13th Amendment of the US Constitution that outlawed slavery in the United States. In 1924, capital punishment, the first state execution in the United States by gas chamber, takes place in Nevada. And in 1950, the Stasi, the secret police of East Germany, is established. Significant birthdays on this day, the 8th of February, we have Harry Wu, who is the Chinese human rights activist. So now let's have a look at this fortnight show where I spoke to Malaka Mohammed of the BDS movement from the University of Exeter on her speaking tour of Ireland.
So BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions. It's a Palestinian-led grassroots sort of resistance movement, starting in Palestine, and then now it's a global movement. There are so many branches of BDS or campaigns of BDS all over the world, including here in Ireland, in England, etc., etc. It stands for boycott. As I said, boycott isn't the individual level, so when you go, wherever you go to Tesco and you find some Israeli products or products that are made in Israeli settlements, we need to keep in mind that these products are indirectly profiting the Israeli occupation, so we need to stop buying it, and that's what BDS is about. This the boycott bit. Divestment is on companies level, so some of the companies profit from the Israeli occupation as well, including G4S, Veolia, etc. And since my sort of academia work is on prisoners, Palestinian political prisoners in Israeli jails, G4S has links with that because it provides security to the Israeli prisons so that they can keep torturing Palestinian prisoners and turning their lives into hell. Sanctions is a more of a state level, so it's a bigger thing, and there is still work on it, but we've not yet reached to the stage where we have lots of achievement in that level. But this is what boycott is about. It calls for some main goals, including return of refugees, Palestinian refugees, to their land. As a Palestinian refugee myself, I'm from a place called Jaffa to the northwest of Palestine. I've never been allowed to go there, even for a visit, including my father and my mother as well. None of my family were allowed to go there, and I think it's really fair and it's really just to go there because it's your home, and you need to see your home at least. So
and the BDS movement itself so far, what has it achieved, do you think, since it began?
So it has achieved lots, and as a student myself, and I would speak about what it has achieved on the students level. So as someone who has been the sabbatical officer in the education sabbatical officer in Sheffield University, we've done some work to divest from G4S, the company that I've just mentioned. As a former executive committee in the National Union of Students, we've also passed the BDS motion, and I'm glad to say that it's only South Africa and England that has passed national motions on the students level, so National Union of Students in South Africa and National Union of Students in England. They're only those, and I'm glad like I was part of this movement to pass BDS motions. There are at least 30 universities in England that has passed BDS motions, which is amazing. That like there are groups in every university. There are groups here in Dublin. There are groups everywhere as well. Trying to raise awareness about the issues of Palestine and the issues of injustice that are going on in there.
Yeah.
And
the products itself that you'd be boycotting, I mean, how do you define the parameters of that? Because particularly in a globalized world, everything is connected. Is it that you just boycott Israeli products or products made in the illegal settlements?
Yeah, I would say that like all the products that are boycottable, they are part of the BDS movement website. So if anyone wants to see what is boycottable, what is not, I would refer them to the BDS movement.net, I think, website, so that they can see what is it exactly.
They can boycott. Okay. Now, and other aspects of the boycott movement, for example, the cultural boycott, and you've also got the academic boycott. The cultural boycott has come in for a little bit of criticism sometimes. Some people have put forward the argument, and I'm wondering what you think of it. Is it not better to go and make your statement there, so possibly more people can hear the message that you have, rather than to boycott it completely?
I think this is a bit controversial, but I think as Palestinians ourselves who are not able to go and visit even these parts of our lands, and we have this sort of like embargo on us. I've not seen my family for the 4th year in a row, so this is me like as a student here not being able to go and see her family just for a visit. And I think like having those people who would go to Israel, or like Israel making the statement there, it's just like a bit of unjust sort of thing. So I don't support it, and I don't support that like people would go there because they have like the support from the Israeli government, or like the support of like an Israeli organization or whatever, and being funded by if they have funding by the Israeli government. This is like all links to BDS, and I think it's really important before going into this event or that event to make sure that you're not breaching any of like the BDS movement resolutions. And the other thing is that, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is something that Palestinians themselves call for. And I'm sure like so many people are asking like what can we do and how can we help and all these sort of questions.
So the BDS movement would have a lot of support locally on the ground with Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza.
Even inside Israel, so they're boycott from within, which is a sort of also like a group that call for boycott, divestment, sanctions. We need to keep into consideration that BDS is based like the sort of guidelines that BDS based itself on is international law and human rights. So it calls for like the borders of 1967, not even 1948. So this is why you would have these sort of groups inside Israel calling for a boycott of settlements and stuff.
Now, some people have said that the BDS movement makes peace with Israel less likely. It prevents the notion of a two-state solution. How would you respond to that?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I would think that like the first thing that we need to keep into consideration here is that there has been so many peaceful talks between the Palestinians and the Israeli. And I was telling other students yesterday when we had that meeting that like Palestinian or the Palestinian Authority in specific and the Israeli government would come into one table and start negotiating like how they would come or like how would they reach to a peaceful solution to this like Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And while they are on that table negotiating this peaceful resolution, Israeli government would build settlements on the ground. So how would you like do this on one stage and do the other on another stage outside this like room or this like sort of like table around it? And the other thing is I think we need to think of like what two-state solution means and what one-state solution means. Currently, around 78% of the Palestinian land is under Israeli occupation. There are at least 600,000 Israeli settlers inside the West Bank and East Jerusalem, which are Palestinian territories under international law and Geneva Conventions. So if you're asking for 78% of the land to go for the Israeli, and the settlements are still going on every day and every night, and you're asking us to, whoever, like asking us to just like stay silent and not saying anything. That is completely wrong and unfair and unjust by all means and by all words, I would say. So yeah, we need to define what two-state solution means and what one-state solution. And I would go for one-state solution. I think it's really important that like everyone live together, regardless of their religion, regardless of their identity, regardless of their differences, and it's gonna be like I'm sure it's gonna be like a hard thing to do. But,
and recent Israeli attacks on Gaza, the recent vote in the Knesset regarding the illegal settlements, does that make the situation worse for Palestinians, or is that, as Palestinians see it, that's just another thing that Israel does?
Yeah, it's sometimes really hard to think of these things because like coming from Gaza myself, and there was an attack on 19 bombs hitting Gaza not yesterday, the day before, and being away from home and all these things, like it's really sometimes like really painful for you like to feel that way. But I think it does make things harder, it does make things more difficult, and even like the Israeli image is so, like this is why like Israel is spending millions of dollars to just reshape its image in the international arena. And I think as long as Israel is doing all this like unjust stuff against the Palestinians, there's gonna be resistance. You can't expect people to just like being forced to leave their homes and being killed and being put in prisons for no charge and no trial, ethnically cleansed from their homes, like al-Hiran village in the Naqab just a few days ago, where at least like 531 Palestinian family were forced to leave their lands in Naqab. You can't expect them to just exchange flowers and hugs with you. Like they're gonna resist. And I think BDS movement is just like one of the tactics that can be used to just like stay steadfast and say no to occupation and colonization.
I was the one when you needed love. I wanted to see what you wanted more. I was the hell that you needed. Oh.